Hi everyone, it's Christina Barker from Dolphin Outsourcing, and today I have the lovely Claire Lycett with me today.
Hello.
So Claire is one of our newest members to the team, and I'd love to do a bit of an introduction about Claire. You can find out more about what she can do to help your business, how she can help you grow, what she can do for you, and a little bit about her personally. So I'm going to go ahead and ask Claire a load of questions and see what answers we get. Claire, you ready?
Do it.
Okay. So tell us a bit about you and your career so far.
So I have quite a mixed career. I worked in customer service since I was 16. My dad had an optometry practice, and I used to work on Saturdays. Well, I went to school on Saturdays, and then in the holidays, I would always come along and help him. So I was kind of his, they used to call them the Saturday girl. My dad's quite old-fashioned, And then I did a BA in classics at Birmingham University. And I worked as an admin temp throughout the holidays when I was at Birmingham. And then after I graduated, I didn't really know what to do, because what do you do with a BA in classics? So I temped, did loads and loads of admin work for a variety of companies. Then I did some traveling. And then I started a master's in filmmaking at the London Film School in London. And I worked at the Royal Opera House as an usher. And I worked my way up to being an usher manager while I was there. And then I did some freelance film work after I graduated. And then I fell in love and I got married and I moved to Oxford because London's very expensive and we couldn't afford to get a house. And I started working for the Women's Institute at somewhere called Denman College, which is now very sadly closed. I worked there full time and I learned how to make jam and I learned how to crochet. And I also met lots of women of a whole variety. I would say most of them were of a sort of a certain age, but they had amazing lives. Like I remember one woman, she was doing she came out with her credit card number. That was it. She came out with her credit card number completely off the top of her head. And I sort of said, wow, where on earth how do you know that? And she went, oh, I'm very good at numbers. I worked at Bletchley. And I was like, oh, so I had all these amazing stories anyway. And while I was there, I taught courses on film icons. So I covered Cary Grant and Judy Garland and Audrey Hepburn, among others. And I loved doing that. And I also started an online flower girl dress business with my best friend, who sadly moved to Australia. We ran it for 2 years and we decided to close when she moved because she did all the making. I had my daughter and then went on maternity leave. And I also took up, while I was on maternity leave, because I wasn't busy enough with a baby.
With everything.
I know. I took up being vice chair of my local Maternity Voices Partnership, which was quite an interesting place to be when I was pregnant with my son during the pandemic. And because I couldn't, unfortunately, go back, and while I was at Denman, I worked my way up to being a senior manager. So I was the administration and reception manager while I was there. And I couldn't, unfortunately, work there full time. And I wanted something that was a bit more chilled. So I started working in a GP practice, which was, again, a very interesting place to work during a pandemic. And I left there and started working for Dolphin after my second maternity leave with my son. So here I am.
Just, a small bit of experience then.
I meant to be briefer. Sorry about that.
Very, very varied. But no, it's really good. It's good to have a bit of variation because you can have that as your transferable skills. So it's always good. So talk about you a bit more personally. Like, what are your interests? Like, what do you do in your spare time?
So I make jam and crochet and I do a lot of washing. No, I'm joking. I love to write, so I've always been a creative writer. I still have a lot of interest in photography, so it's helped by the fact that I actually have very photogenic children, so I do lots of photography of them. And I volunteer for the MVP, as I've said, which I love. And I do still love catching up on films. They had some old Cary Grant films on BBC iPlayer, so I sat there and watched My Favourite Wife at 5:30 in the morning when my son was awake, and that was brilliant. I volunteered for Contact the Elderly in the past because I do feel that I feel that loneliness in this country is something that we really need to combat. It's bad. And we've got a pet tortoise called Achilles. We're not quite ready for a dog. We went for the tortoise. Yeah. And yeah, I'm once I sort of start a job and once I get involved in something, I do throw myself into it quite wholeheartedly. So Dolphin's really exciting. I'm really excited.
Yeah. So on that note then, what do you do? What do you want to do for Dolphin Outsourcing, like on a day-to-day basis?
So I just started at the moment, and at the moment I've still been doing some training, but I'm hoping to be helping out with some basic admin needs. My background is in film, in media, in anything visual, so that really is where my strengths lie. However, I also have an incredibly strong admin background. What made me quite a good producer at film school really was the fact that I had this very, very strong admin background. And, you know, I'm not saying all, but a lot of creative sort of filmmakers can be very kind of, you know, they're off somewhere here and you're trying to say, yes, but the money, you know. I really firmly believe that anybody these days, the equipment is so good. You know, you've got these things, these smartphones. You can pick these up and you can actually make fantastic films and fantastic promos, and you can take pictures that I think are professional now with the right kind of filters. So I'm really passionate about sort of helping people to make things that they're really proud of, that look professional and look good, that they've made themselves.
Yeah.
So hopefully I'll be able to help out with that. But I mean, I'm here to help with whatever.
Fantastic. That's what we want. That's what we like. Have you got any kind of courses coming up at the moment, or anything that might be interested, or something that you've completed recently?
Yeah, so I found Trello really interesting. That's just a fascinating piece. I wish I'd come up with that.
We do a lot of Trello at Dolphin, so yeah, you'll get used to that.
It's absolutely brilliant. I think Future Learn is quite good, and I'm looking at an Illustrator course on my iPad, because I just think if you can illustrate, if you're good at drawing, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to do, you know, transfer that onto something like an iPad using.
Yeah, a lot of people use that now, don't they?
I'd really like to learn how to code. My husband's a programmer. I'm not 100% sure my brain is. Yeah, I've built several websites, but I've built them using templates. But I'd love to learn to code properly.
Yeah, I think that's sort of the same as me. I would like to get into a bit more of that because I know very basic things and, you know, modifying stuff and building some websites, but more of a template type thing as well. So yeah, I think you've got to be a certain type of person to learn all the coding stuff, a bit geeky. So where do you see yourself being with Dolphin in 12 months from now?
So ideally, I'd like to be nice and bedded in as a really well-functioning member of the team. It's quite an inspiring group to work with. I'm really interesting group of people, and I'm really passionate about flexible working because you know, having had young kids and having really been, you know, very sadly forced out of a job that I love because I had the temerity to have children. I think flexible working is something that I just think is so important for people with young children. So Dolphin's been a real find on that. I'd love to bring more visual elements to Dolphin. So I'd love to bring more filmmaking, more editing for clients. I think so much can be done using visual media, and people now are responding. You've only got to look at how successful TikTok is. You know, to sort of see how well people respond to visual media. You know, I mean, half my friends' 3-year-olds are sat there watching unboxing videos on YouTube, you know, and you just think they're all going to grow up with that. I think that's very much, you know, would be a really useful string to the Dolphin bow. I think it's all about inspiring people and helping clients, you know, to get the best for them and get the best for their clients.
Yeah, definitely. What makes you stand out from the crowd? Like, what makes you different from somebody else?
So I've got a really diverse background, and there's very little that I won't have a go at. I've worked as a filmmaker. I've worked in a call center. I've temped for a massive variety of businesses. So as a student, I worked for a concrete floor beam manufacturing company, chatting away to builders sort of every day. I've worked for the London Fashion Museum. I've worked for Green and Black's chocolate company. I've just worked from a variety. I worked in high street shops. I've set up businesses. I've created 3 websites. I've helped with social media promotions. So on the MVP, we've just broken 4K followers on our Facebook group, which is really exciting and terrific. I had 2 books. I had 1 book that was nearly published. And I've been really privileged. You know, I worked for the Royal Opera House where, you know, I was was working alongside and chatting away with world-class opera singers and ballet dancers, and I was just doing that on a daily basis and seeing all this amazing art being created. I just feel that all of these, and at the same time, I've been a senior manager, but I have also worked as a receptionist. So I have worked my way up and I've done all sorts, and then I've gone back to being a receptionist after being a senior manager. And it just gives you so much perspective on the way that things work and the way that people work, really, and businesses work. So they've given me such a good understanding of like small, medium, and large organisations, and sort of strengths and weaknesses, and where they kind of could need help, or where they could do with more help or assistance. So yeah, I think basically what I'm trying to say is a very creative side, which I can apply to business and administrative work.
Yeah, very varied, as I say. But yeah, good for our clients or potential clients that we might have. So so what is your favourite social media platform? Talking for social media,
quite old school. I do love me a bit of Facebook. I know it shows my age though, doesn't it? That's the problem. My niece is like, oh, Facebook. She's 12. But I do quite like Instagram. And I had a go at TikTok, actually. I found TikTok really exciting because, a lot of the video editing skills that I learned at film school, which, was using these massive Avid machines. And
now they make it easy, don't they?
Now they make it so easy. It's all on a touch. I mean, I look at the stuff that my niece is 12, and, she comes up with this stuff, and you're just like, whoa, that's incredible, So I must admit, like, I politics aside, I do think TikTok's absolutely incredible. I do think that's a really exciting.
It is a good platform. Which one do you have the most experience in? Is it still Facebook or something different?
Probably Facebook, but I do have quite a lot of experience on Instagram as well. And Facebook, really, it's only because of running and co-running the MVP Facebook page. I would say that's really sort of got me into the business side of Facebook. That's been really interesting.
Yeah. Okay, last but not least, I can't speak today, clearly. Tell us a fun fact about yourself.
Okay, so my husband and I, we went to Birmingham University at exactly the same time for our foundation degree. So he was in physics. We thought they were great because they were physics. And I was in classics, which was sort of possibly, I think he probably thought it was a bit of a ridiculous arty degree. But we used to go to all the same karaoke nights. We used to go to the same pubs. We used to go to the same club nights, and we never met. I mean, I must have walked past him hundreds of times because the astrophysics and the physics building was just beautiful, and I used to walk past that on my way in. And we never met. And then he stayed on to do his PhD, and he did his PhD with my best friend from school, who I'd known since I was 13. And we never met. I visited her a few times. I was like in and out of relationships, and I was like, oh, can you set me up with anyone you know? And he wasn't in relationships, and he was like, well, I don't really think there's anyone that you like. They're all very geeky physics blokes. And then we met at their engagement party when I just got over a really bad breakup. I wasn't really ready for anything. And he still says he wasn't, making it, being keen, but I think he was. And then at their wedding, he was we called him her bridesmaid, but he was an usher, and bridesmaid, and I caught the bouquet, and we got together at that wedding.
Good wedding then, really, wasn't it?
Well, I think it's lucky we didn't meet at 20s. I don't think we'd have got on, but
that's always the way, isn't it? My husband looked totally different in his 20s to what he looks like in his 30s.
Isn't it? Like Richard had hair.
Yep, same as my husband. So that just shows what marriage and kids does to you. Okay. Well, it's been great finding out a bit more about you and what you can do for our potential clients. So if anyone would like Claire to help you in your business for any of the above and beyond things that she can do, please just send us a message, get in touch, go to our website. We're all over social media, so we will find you. So yeah, thank you very much, and we will see you all, or speak to you all, or hear us all probably next week. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.